Well, and the thing is, so like I believe the enemy tried to take me out multiple times. In fact, I know he did. Um, because he basically, God, how do I even phrase this? Like, if it wasn't the medical stuff that I had to deal with, I also dealt with a lot of domestic violence. But God's protection was there too, because we had a stalker that followed us. My mom ended up having to leave this one guy, but this guy followed us for years, and he didn't. It didn't stop until she met him with a shotgun and said, "If you ever find us again, I'll kill you." And you got to understand, my mom was very much. Um, she was Army. She was a 82nd Airborne, and she was a nurse in the Army. So if she said she was going to do something, she was going to do something, and there was nothing you could do to stop it.
Yeah.
You know, and okay, so I ended up only child for years.
Welcome back to Relatable Wisdom, the podcast where everyday people share the quotes that shaped how they see life, offering you daily reminders that wisdom can be found in the most unexpected places. Today's guest is Teresa Blaes, an entrepreneur and ministry leader who has spent 20 years helping others discover their God-given message. As a blind business owner and storyteller, she has a unique gift for finding light in life's darkest chapters and helping others do the same. Let's step into Teresa's world for a few minutes and hear the quote that has become an compass through it all. Welcome back to Relatable Wisdom. Okay, I'm saying it here that you said the favorite quote is no risk it, no biscuit. So what does
Yep.
that mean in layman
So
terms?
it's in context of one of an old football coach used to say it. I'm an Arizona Cardinals fan, and he always used to say, "No risk it, no biscuit," and he would always take shots down the field that he had no business taking. And I always kind of live by that. Is like when I'm faced with something where it might be a risk or it might be this may not work, I always go back to no risk it, no biscuit, because you may take a shot and you might win or you might not.
Oh, no risk it, no biscuit. I like that. No risk it, no biscuit. And so if you don't take the shots, you won't like I think there's another quote that you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Right. Yep. I think that, yeah, this one's very similar to that.
Yeah, yeah. No risk it, no biscuit. No risk it, no biscuit. How far back would you say this, you've known this quote?
Oh God. When were Spurs Arians Cardinals coach? I'd say probably back in '09, maybe 2010, because that's when I started really becoming an Arizona Cardinals fan, and I really paid attention to them. And yeah,
That's a pretty long time.
yeah,
No risk it, be no biscuit. What I want you to do for us is, you share some stories that you know help from your personal life that illustrates this
absolutely.
quote. Okay,
Yes, I can actually.
thank you.
So like, we one time we were at God asked us to go to a conference. And it was actually a gaming conference, and it was kind of one everything was already paid for, and but we were supposed to we had all our flights covered, everything was settled. But we had something happen where our we had like little money in the bank and we didn't realize it because the bank was down. Well, when we look and then but I knew that we were supposed to go anyway. And I and Mike was like, maybe we ought to. I'm like, no, Mike, no risk it, no biscuit. I don't know what God's gonna do, but we're supposed to go. And God showed Himself faithful. I mean, we got there, and there were just many things that happened where He provided exactly what we needed and how we needed it.
Wow. It was kind of like when God told Abraham to
Oh yeah, oh
to
yeah,
go do the
I've
sacrifice. And
exactly,
he
exactly.
was like, look.
Abraham's like, okay, and I mean, we've had that too. Like, we were supposed to go to Podcast Movement one year, and, our business partner was at the time was like, look, I don't know about you, but I'm going to go because we weren't sure how we were going to get there because we were supposed to speak. And, and God's like, and Mike and I went out for this walk, and we're like, I don't know, are we supposed to do this? And God reminded us of the story of Abraham, and like, And it was like, just go and I'll show you how. Just say you're going to go and I'll show you how you're going to get there. All
Yeah.
right. So yeah, I've absolutely seen that happen.
Okay. Okay. I'm always what's the word I should use now? I'm always loving stories, and I always love to hear stories. And is there more from the bag of stories you can pull out for us?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like I remember, I mean, see, I truly believe that we are called to worship God. I believe we're called, our purpose is to expand his kingdom, but our kingdom assignment is always different. Yeshua didn't give every single disciple the same assignment. You know what I mean? Like, what did he tell like Peter? And he's like, well, you're the rock, and on this rock I'm gonna build my church. You're gonna go preach to these guys over here, and think. And I can so relate with Peter, like, because he walked away from God, right? He denied his name, and I've been there. I've absolutely been there because I did the same thing for like 5 years. You know,
Oh,
and then God brought me back, and it was a story of, you're still angry at me over your blindness, aren't you? And I was like, yeah. And he didn't really hit that. He just kind of went quiet on me. But then he asked me, would you write a book? And I knew what he meant. He wanted me to write about my early childhood. And at the time I was like, nope, ain't going there, not touching that one, not doing that. I got too many skeletons back there, and they could stay locked away in their closet. And then he said, if you're not willing to do that, would you do this other? And that kind of touches on your other show, so I won't go into that. But God showed up and met me where I was at. And I love him for it.
yeah. Wow. You started telling the stories. I'm just in a relaxed mode, listening. I'm supposed to be the one drinking that kind of milk you're drinking, not the other way around.
Oh, I'm just
Yeah,
drinking some milk, man.
I need to be digesting the story. I'm the one taking the story. You're the one telling the story. I'm supposed to be digesting that story with the milk.
Nah, man. I
Ah,
got so many stories, dude. I mean, like the biggest thing that I have seen, I mean, and I could riff on this for hours, is God's protection. Like, because when I grew up, like I said, in and out of hospitals, and I had over 200 eye operations.
200.
Yeah, 200. Okay, about 100 on each eye. I lost my left eye when I was like 10 years old. And then my right eye I ended up having to have removed um back in '09. But I ended up, like I said, I had multiple eye operations. I had brain surgery, heart surgery, open heart surgery, cleft palate surgery. I mean, in and out of hospitals. And the thing was, how did God protect me in those surgeries? Well, because I had sleep apnea. Every time they would put me under anesthesia, there was always a risk that I wouldn't wake up. I was always taking my life in my hands every single time I would be put under. But God,
It's been really good.
you know,
Yeah,
but God.
when I my mom used to tell me this phrase that she would say jokingly that I'm on God's over here, when beards, right? When you want to yeah, they call it beer. I'm
Mm-hmm.
on God's beer that I'm very close to him. Anytime he bends his head like this, I would always be touching him, and I'm like, this story is exactly what it means, that without, otherwise there would have been no, we probably won't be having this conversation right now.
Mm. Well, and the thing is, so like, I believe the enemy tried to take me out multiple times. In fact, I know he did. Um, because he basically, God, how do I even phrase this? Like, if it wasn't the medical stuff that I had to deal with, I also dealt with a lot of domestic violence. But God's protection was there too, because we had a stalker that followed us. My mom ended up having to leave this one guy, but this guy followed us for years, and he didn't. It didn't stop until she met him with a shotgun and said, "If you ever find us again, I'll kill you." And you got to understand, my mom was very much. She was Army. She was a 82nd Airborne, and she was a nurse in the Army. So if she said she was going to do something, she was going to do something, and there was nothing you could do to stop it.
Yeah.
You know, and Okay, so I ended up only child for years. And then around 6, I was recovering from open heart surgery, like I said, because my heart had a hole in it. And one thing I forgot to mention is that all growing up until then, I ended up having over 8 heart attacks. Many of them, my mom having to do CPR, waiting for the ambulance. Okay. So, but they had to go in because one of the veins that was in my heart had split off and was into the shape of a Y and was growing back into itself. So they had to go back in and repair all that and then repair the hole in my heart, you know? And so at the age of 6, I'm recovering from that surgery. My mom had gotten another boyfriend, and I had a sister. Her name was Mandy. My sister ended up getting sick. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching cartoons. She's in the crib. And my mom had gone out to get some groceries or something like that. And Mandy started crying. And the guy that she was with, his name was Kevin. And all of a sudden he got up, he walked over to the crib, grabbed her out of the crib, and threw her.
Jesus.
Yeah. I was a witness to this. She cracked her skull all the way around. He picked her up and he walked out of the room with her. She ended up being life flighted to Salt Lake City, Utah, where she was pronounced dead on October 20th, 1989.
Yes.
I was a witness to that, and that really impacted. I mean, because then I was taken away from my parents or my mom and put in state custody and had to deal with all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so but I see it as God's hand of protection because one, if that guy was willing to do that to a little like 6 to 10-month-old kid, what could he have done to me? But I didn't know it. I didn't know it at that time. I just knew I didn't know how to react to what I saw.
Let's take a quick pause. If you're enjoying this conversation and want more thought-provoking ideas straight to your inbox, join the Relatable Wisdom email list. It's free, quick, and filled with bite-sized insights, inspiring quotes, and behind-the-scenes reflections from our guests. Just head to relatablewisdom.com/join. That is relatablewisdom.com/join. Or tap the link in the show notes. And hey, subscribing to the podcast helps more than you think, and it's free. So if you haven't already, hit that follow button wherever you're listening. All right, let's get back to the conversation. Yeah. Oh. Oh, this, you're one of those guests that I just realized that I'm like, no, this isn't a guest for a 30-minute interview. We need to find a way to to do a continuation of this story, honestly.
I would be honored to do it. There's a lot to the story. And there is a lot to the story. So if you want me back, I'm more than willing to come back.
Yeah, I would check on Podmatch and see if I've reached out to you via my podcast story, and if not, I would
Yeah, I
message you.
did see. Yes, I did see some emails for my podcast story. Yeah.
Okay, Teresa, is it spelled double S or one S?
No, Teresa.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so you're booked for 17th of June, 2025.
Yep.
So not too far from now. This one will digest, and then I'll have more follow-up questions to ask you. Because your profile, the strange thing is your profile, how do I say this now? It's not rich. You get, I have to dig down to actually know a lot. But I think that from just this conversation, I've had more than what I could possibly have gotten from your profile.
And I could always update the profile. I'm working with a speaking booking agency and or
Yeah,
group.
I see it. I see it there. It's called This Is Me LLC.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I'm working with them, and so I've tried my best to fill out, because I do a lot of business podcasts as well as ministry shows.
Yeah.
And I tried to kind of combine my profile and so I could accommodate each one. Because my belief is that, my heart is very simple. I don't care how ugly or how dark your story is. I challenge you to find God in it.
Yeah.
And I've been there. I've seen stuff.
Isn't that it's now that you say it makes sense that if one's life is ugly and dark, that they should look for light.
Yeah. Yeah.
The darker your story is, the more important you need. Of course, light is important for everyone, but the more dark your story is, the more that you need light.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. And that's why I do what I do.
Yeah, I'm really excited. 17th of June to meet you and talk with you on your podcast story and how you're using your podcast to really impact and change lives and all the things and you're doing with your podcast. And
Amen.
I
I
know
can't.
that on that day, I'm going to I will not be I just I'll be drinking something too, not just you. Yeah. so, so that every time I say something, I'll gulp down my throat and say, Yeah. So what was I saying again? Yeah.
Oh, I like
Yeah.
you, man. I
Yeah.
like you a lot. I
Yeah.
think, yeah.
Thank you so much, Teresa. I'm glad that Michael was able to figure out the Riverside
Yeah. Yeah. It was our
thing.
first
Yeah.
time actually seeing the app, and we're like, what? Oh, crap.
Yeah. Yeah. It's that's it. The moment you go through that first obstacle, you then realize that okay, yeah, it's so this is it, and so the next time you're using Riverside, okay, most of the interviews you'll be going for, you've been using Zoom or something like that.
Yeah, we use Zoom, and then we're getting used to Riverside. We're actually looking at, we're actually thinking about switching over to Riverside.
It shows that your profile is pretty new on Podmatch. When did you join Podmatch?
About maybe a couple months ago.
Okay, a couple of months ago. Because
Yeah.
I'm like,
but I haven't really started. It took me a little bit to fill out everything for the actual Podmatch thing, and so I'm starting to slowly get podcasts in and booked and all that kind of thing, so that I can. My heart is I'm trying to share this protected book story because
do, do you do you reach out to podcast on the platform? I don't know how agency booking works because I've not
well,
really.
so I do my own bookings as well. So I'm always on Facebook looking for interview places. Like, I have certain groups that I check and that kind of thing. But then again, I'm also interviewing podcasters as well, or interviewing for my show. So I do both, and then I have the agency that gets me on shows as well. So it keeps me very busy.
Yeah, because since most of the things I would say it might not really apply for, but you understand it and it just makes sense because I'm trying to say certain things, but I'm realizing that it's the agency that is managing your Podmatch account. But
Mm-hmm.
Podmatch is a platform that right now I'm a host. I'm not yet guesting, right? But I'm just focused on the hosting part, right?
Mm-hmm.
I get so much interviews, like so much just from Podmatch alone, right?
Oh, I know.
Okay,
I get it.
I'll
Yeah.
mention the numbers so that you get the context. Right now, just this month, I've done about 90 something interviews, and I'm going towards 100 interviews just this month,
Oh,
all from
jeez.
Podmatch. So like if you're using Podmatch, like if you're messaging, reaching out to people and telling them a pitch and all that, you would
Mm-hmm.
get so many guests, so
Yep.
many placements that you will not be able to handle it.
Oh yeah, trust me. I've already had to hire a VA just to handle the scheduling.
Okay. So
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about.
I know
Yeah, because
exactly what you're talking about. Yes.
I'm looking at your profile and there are just one podcast review and it's still showing you, and so
Yeah.
that's why I'm like skeptical, and it's not even showing the number of episodes you've been on. And so I'm like, it looks as if you just
Well,
signed
I
up
mean, so
yesterday.
I've been trying to, I have a lot of interviews scheduled, and I actually have done some interviews. I'm just waiting for them to actually do the review thing.
Okay, don't worry,
So
I'll give you a review after this interview. So you should add to
I,
it so it will be made to make it too.
yep, I appreciate it. Because
Okay,
I'm
I will.
really, I love podcasting. I love it with a passion. I love doing it.
Yeah. No, for me, the reason I love Podmatch is that there is really no limits to it. So if you want to like do a ton, you can do a lot. Of course, they have that messaging limits and all the stuff. But if you want to like get booked on a lot of podcasts, and you just have to like reach out to them, message them,
Amen.
and if you train them,
Amen.
and it seems that I've seen a lot of Christian podcasts that it's obvious that like over 14,000 podcasts. it's so much that, I mean, even if you reach 1,000 podcasts, you're just starting out.
Yeah, no, and like I said, and I do my own, I do some work on my own stuff too. So I'm always working on, I have, I'm just doing my thing, and I
Yeah,
absolutely love doing it. I love it so much.
yeah. I'll be happy to, like, right now, there's this, what's the word now? There's anticipation. I'm anticipating 17th of June, and
Hmm.
that's about 20 something days from now. Wow.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
I will have my own kind of drink too, because
I bet you will.
you started drinking the drink. You didn't even call me to come and join you. It's all right, no problem, no problem. You're even laughing at me for, for
Oh,
having longer throats. Okay, no problem, no problem. 17th of June, I'll have two
yep.
drinks that I'll be drinking. Right. Okay, thank you so much. I forgot to ask you. I didn't ask you. Where can people learn more about you and connect with you?
Well, if you want to find out more about what I'm doing, please go to www.protectedbook.com. That's where the story is. I mean, and you can, I've set it up so like you'll get like 3 stories that I didn't include in the book that are just as powerful. And um there's a lot to what I shared. I've only shared some clips from like cliff notes of what God has been done in my life, and um I'm just really excited. I know that God is going to like radically change a lot of things, and I've seen just in using his wisdom, using what he does, a man thinks in his heart, so is he. That's what the proverb says,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know. And the way I think, the way I process things, is completely different. Why? Because I'm a child of the king, and that makes all the difference. So if you want to learn more about that journey, go to protectedbook.com. You can also reach me at teresablaze.com.
yeah. TeresaBlaes.com. Wow, that's such a huge flex to have your name
Yeah.
as
Oh yeah.
as your
No, I
domain
grabbed
name.
that immediately. Yep.
Yeah, no wasting of time
Yeah.
before before they ask you to start paying for it. Wow, it's okay to take a break.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Relatable Wisdom. If you found something meaningful in this episode, make sure to follow or subscribe wherever you're listening. If you'd like to support the show, you can do that by buying me a coffee. The link is in the show notes. Every little bit keeps the conversations going. I'm your host, Wisdom Okonkwo, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, staying curious, stay inspired, and keep growing.